Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Friday, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. You made it through another week. I hope it's going great for you. A couple things to talk about today, a couple stories. And the first one I wanted to start off with is, ever since I was a kid, I guess I've been fascinated with how things are made, and like even that show, How It's Made, I love that stuff. I can watch it all day long. And it's just amazing how things are produced and made. And a lot of times, as somebody that likes to fabricate things, when you look at something, you ever look at it and say, geez, I wonder how they made this, I wonder how this was done. And well, ever since, like I said, I was a kid, I've always been fascinated with the plastic cup lids. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, if you've ever gotten a beverage, especially a hot beverage to go, a lot of times you'll see it's covered with a lid like this, a plastic lid. This one is made by Solo. Solo was a company founded in 1936, a fantastic history behind this company, but they made so many different lids. In fact, there's an actual book dedicated to these type of lids that covered containers. And when we were kids, they were pretty much a basic flat lid, and what you had to do was you had to using your teeth or whatever, you would try and make two little cuts here and peel it back and then rip it off, that you would give yourself a little sipping notch that you could drink with still most of the cover on. And through the years they developed different ways of having this a little porthole accessible by having flip tops and all different ways to make it, okay? So, and I've always, every time a new lid comes out, I'm always saying, I wonder how this lid is going to be, is this going to be a good lid? And one thing that always annoyed me, did you ever, when you go to put a lid on a cup, when you go to put it on, I hate when they line up the little drinking hole with the seam of the cup. You see the seam of the cup here when they line this up, and then, but now it don't matter because now this is high enough that you're not touching, your lips never touch the cup, only the lid. So this is one of the newer high standoff lids. But what's interesting is the other day when I went into to get the Dunkin' Donuts, I usually go when I'm going upstate, I'll grab a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and they had this thing sticking in it. Now, now, the first time I said, what is this? Is this something new? Which is something new in my area. And I pulled this out and I'm like, what is this? It's like a swizzle stick. What does this do? It's like, what it does, all right, it's supposed to stop any splashing, any fluid from coming out of the cup while you're transporting. And I just didn't understand this thing. I think this is the most ridiculously engineered accessory. They had all these different flip tops and lids and everything, but I guess they get, now you're telling me the whole reason we went to these paper cups is to get rid of the pollution and things like this. This little plastic stick definitely looks like something that could get lodged in a fish's throat or something, but what is the idea behind this? Could you tell me? I'm sure it's made this long, because if they made it like this long, you would probably swallow it somehow and they would get sued. So they had to make it long enough that you couldn't get it in your mouth without realizing you had this in your mouth. Is it me, or do you think this is just absolutely ridiculous? Let me know. So these are the thoughts that run through my mind that I just can't shake them. I just, maybe you could help me out with that. Okay, next up, something pretty interesting if you ask me. I purchase a few things on eBay every once in a while, and I ordered a new old stock screwdriver, and it just so happens this type of screwdriver is one of my favorites. I ordered this screwdriver. Let me show you what happened. Pretty interesting. So about a month back, I ordered this new old stock screwdriver. I'm all excited. The package comes in the mail. I'm like, okay. I rip it open out of excitement. What the? Wait a minute. This ain't a screwdriver. What the heck is this? So I go on eBay and I say, oh no, I know what happened. The guy sent me the wrong package. If you ever deal with eBay, it happens sometimes. Sometimes people will, they have multiple items and they send you out the wrong one. But with me, what I hated the most is, like, my post office is horrible to go to. No parking. It's a madhouse. Tons of people in there. It's a small little rinky-dink post office, and I'm like, if I'm going to have to go. And then a lot of times the eBay seller will ask you, do me a favor, could you send it to the person that I was supposed to send it to? And and then then you got to incur the cost and get, I was dreading it. So I contacted the seller and I said, listen, you sent me a flashlight. So he's like, oh man, he goes, well, I guess you get a flashlight for free. So I was like, you know something? I happen to collect flashlights. I said, listen, no problem. Use that money that I sent you. You know, he was going to refund me the money. I said, no, use that for the flashlight, and I'm going to buy another screwdriver from you, you know, and just send that out. So, you know, he was like, wow, that's really nice. And I said, you know, look, nobody wants to screw anybody here, but, you know, when it's a few dollars, what are you going to do? You're going to sit there and try and berate the guy and get a free item out of him? He's just a business guy. He was going to do the right thing. So you step up and do even a better thing. So let me show you what happened. Now, the guy was so thankful, you know, later on, I received another package, and in it was the screwdriver I ordered in the first place. And this is a new old stock. Look at this, made in the USA. It's a Stanley 100 Plus. Aren't these beautiful? I mean, these, you know, you could still get these new old stuff. This is probably one of the better screwdrivers. It's funny because the more this screwdriver wears in, the better it feels in the hand. It's got a monstrous grip on it. It's just nice. If you've ever held one of these, you know what I'm talking about. And it's funny because I was looking at the grind. This is the exact grind, the industrial grind that I put on the last screwdriver that we did on Wednesday. And you see that? So it's the same exact, you know, only not quite as big, but look at that. What a pretty screwdriver. But, you know, because I did the right thing and he was so appreciative, he sent me these. Now, look, check these out. Williams PL15. I've never seen these style before, but check out what these are. Besides, these are new old stock too. Look how nice these are. And look, they ground these down from the factory to a very small, look how thin that is, huh? And these are a nice pair of pliers, and I guess, you know, isn't that something? So when you do the right thing, people, you know, what comes around goes around. So one thing I want to do, I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to show you a little bit about this awesome flashlight. I actually have a couple new old stock ones, but let me clean up and show you a little bit. Now, this particular model is a Bright Star 1618 CT. CT stands for circuit tester, and it's pretty interesting. I have, like I said, a few of these, but whenever you get something new, you want to take it apart, and you see here, you see all the, you know, the starting of corrosion, which is typical, and you want to take a little Scotch-Brite and some either WD-40 or a cleaner and clean around here, get all this nice and clean. Here you see this is starting to build up a little corrosion because, you know, the contacts is where you're always going to have problem with these older flashlights. So clean everything up, take the bulb sits in here like this, and this screws over. Clean that up, you know, polish out this, and it just makes all the difference in the world. Same thing with here. You see around the edge here, this white stuff that builds up. We're going to take all that off and clean this up, clean up the caps, and let me show you how cool this flashlight is. And how, you know, every single contact you're going to have to clean, you know, if you want this to operate efficiently and without any problems. Now, if you look in here, inside the bulb compartment, you could see there's a little bit of corrosion that's tarnished, that's starting to build up. And what they used to use years ago, Big Mike is laughing now, we used to take a pencil eraser like this and go over here, just a pencil eraser, and spin it around like this, and that'll help clean it up. You can see it's already starting, and it only took a couple seconds, but a pencil eraser is a good thing to clean up the contacts. Gently push it like this back and forth, and you'll see it does a nice job, and that'll ensure that you get good contact. Same thing with the back of the bulb. Clean up everything that makes contact. Now, years ago, we used to use steel wool, but believe it or not, steel wool degrades a little bit, and little bits of filings can get in there. That's why I prefer Scotch-Brite for this operation. But you see here, even on the inside here, when you have all these grooves, these threaded area, you know, just Scotch-Brite it with a little WD-40. The WD-40 acts more of a lubricant than a oil for here, but you Scotch-Brite it here until it becomes out really nice and smooth in here. And then what I do is I go over it with a little polish, and then it makes it really smooth to go on. So anywhere you have connections, or even in here, you see this little connection here, you have to Scotch-Brite that and make it nice and shiny anywhere that there's connections, because that's how the switch works. The switch moves this piece of copper up against the inside of here, and that's what makes the contact. So again, just Scotch, get any corrosion or anything out of there. You'll see how nice these work. Now, to remove the switch mechanism to clean under, what you have to do is there's one screw that holds on the button here. And when you pull that screw out, what will happen is this is it's a piece of copper. And what you have to do is, remember, it goes in that you want the spring side, like a bow, to go up towards the switch. So you're going to have to press that up like this in order to reassemble it. But when you polish this, if you're going to, you just have to polish the tips here. Just the, the ½ inch on the top and a ½ inch on the bottom where it makes contact. There's no sense in polishing the whole thing unless you feel like it. Now we're ready for reassembly. We didn't touch the outside. We're going to do that once it's reassembled. But you can see we polished everything here. First the Scotch-Brite, then the polish, got rid of all the rust, polished everything, polished all the contacts, everything that makes contact, either with a bulb, you run some polish over there and get everything nice and shiny and smooth. Same thing with here, the threads, and you'll see how nice this works when you do it up like that. Now we're going to assemble everything, and then we're going to take care of the outside. To clean the outside, we're going to use a damp piece of paper towel with some Plastex, and we're going to just buff it out and just clean it up. Okay, we're calling this done, and I tell you, I always love these type of flashlights. First of all, you know what my favorite part is this candy translucent red cap that they used to put on, and we did it with the, obviously with the polish, the Plastex, did the whole thing. But this is a rubberized case here, which you won't get to a sheen, but you do get out of the back, which is almost like a Bakelite. It's really a nice quality flashlight. It works perfect, as you could see. And let me show you why this flashlight is such a great, first of all, the feel of it has a nice feel to it. It's very heavy duty. Let me show you what's interesting about that and why it comes with this circuit tester, which we cleaned up too. So let me show you how this works. Now this comes in really handy as a circuit tester. I used to use it for Morse code actually with the Scouts, and I'll talk about that another time. But what you do is you press this into the back here, and it's like a phono plug. It just goes into the back here, and then when you turn this on, you'll see it doesn't go on because you inserted the tester. Now we put the tester here. Now let's say we wanted, here's your two leads. And basically what it wants to see is continuity. Now you want to see, let's say we wanted to see which one of these is obviously the ground is here, but at the other end of the wire here, we want to see which one is the ground. You know, you can't tell, they're all three look alike. So we connected the first one there, and then we touched the second one here. Obviously that's not the ground. Touch this one here, and there's the ground because it lights up. And then just to make sure you don't have any shorts, you check the third one. So that's one of the things you could use it for. It's a continuity tester, and it's great to have. It's a nice little flashlight that also has an additional feature to it. Now here is a vintage, new old stock Bright Star flashlight that probably from the 60s, because it has no barcode. You could see what the box looked like, made in the USA. And it gives you instructions on how to use it. This is, like I said, a new old stock one. You can see it's very close to what we did ours with. And here's the way the cord came, new old stock. And you can see that beautiful red lens. Now, this is very typical of the flashlight. This 618 CT. 618 was a popular flashlight for Bright Star since I think the late 50s. You can see it here. This is a 618 without the circuit tester in the back, and you could see here, this is, that beautiful plastic that they used. That was a very nice plastic. Here is a different type of model here. This one has a yellow off button, but again, this is the difference here. They introduced the switch guard. Now you can see here there's no switch guard here to, if you put this in your pocket, you could accidentally activate the switch. They started adding what's called the switch guard back, I guess, in the late 50s. And then here is another early one without the switch guard in a different color. They came in different colors, and this one here is, you could see here it says permissible. And what that means is that you could take this, it was sealed, that it was acceptable to go into mines and atmospheres like that might have a sparking atmosphere. So, there's just different types of flashlights that they had. Very interesting. I just happen to like certain Bright Star. Now, other companies like Rayovac tried to copy the flashlight from Bright Star, but you can see, first of all, it don't have that translucent or transparent red. It is red, but it's not the same. The switch, it just has a cheesiness feel to it. Probably this is from the 70s when they started coming out and cheapening everything they were making. This one here also is a circuit tester, but you can see here it doesn't have the same switch housing on the back. It's just a hole in there that a smaller type phono plug goes in, makes contact with the inside, and that's how you circuit test that way. This one does have the ring to hang it. But again, it's kind of a cheaper version, but you know, I prefer the higher quality version. Speaking of higher quality, here's just a pretty interesting one. This is from the Stewart Brown Manufacturing Company, and what's so interesting about this one dates back to probably the late 30s, and it is Bakelite. It is a high quality flashlight, and you can see here when you unscrew the back here, look at this. You can see it has a rubber gasket. Again, this is permissible, which means it does have you are allowed to use this in certain mines and things like that, but it's all sealed. This is U.S. Coast Guard approved. The switch here, it's a very interesting switch. You have to press down and up. You see, you press down and up to activate it. It has this nice, look at how the bulb is held in there with the spring. Inside here, you can see here, everything is of high quality and all sealed up. It's just a beautiful flashlight. And again, it's lasted this long. I really like the really old ones that just have a whole different style to it. But, you know, like I said, nothing compares to the newer flashlights they have today. The new ones, the bulbs last forever. They use, you know, lights, and these are great. You can't compare with them, but there's nothing like holding when you hold one of these in your hand, or especially one of my favorites, if you hold the 1618 in your hand, there's nothing like it. I mean, it just feels like a flashlight. You know, we don't get that with these little things we have. So in closing, that's not my flashlight collection by any means, but I just brought down a couple so you could see the differences between them, and there's something about the old stuff, the way they made it, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great weekend. Take care now. Bye-bye.